Going live. Okay, we're live. Hey, welcome. Tonight is November 11th, 2025. I'm Mark, your host, coming to you from Marion, Michigan. Lovely Marion, Michigan. You're going to have to bear with me a little bit. I have a bit of a head cold. Woke up last night with a bit of a sore throat, and all day today I've been really runny and blowing my nose and stuff, and I feel pretty tuckered right now. We had a long day too. Tuesday, well, all summer long we have been butchering both Tuesday and Friday, and today was no different. And the difference today was it was cold out. It was cold. It wasn't like 20s, but it was 30. So we dealt with a little bit of ice yesterday and today. Yesterday, when I got in my cold plunge, I had to break an inch of ice on the tank, but I still got in. This morning, I went out and I broke the ice, but I didn't get in. I stood out there breaking the ice, and I thought, this is good enough. It's cold out here. And I just didn't get in. So I came in and got dressed and went out and got to it. I milked Tuesdays. And we had a bit of a problem this morning. We had ice in the vacuum lines, so we had to heat that all up and get it dried out before we could start. So we were something like an hour and a half behind on milking today. Yeah, that's the way it goes. When you get in winter, things just change. And I think that I'm getting better. And even I got a compliment from my son, Jim. But you got to go some to get a compliment from him, or I do. But he says, things are a lot better around here than they used to. We got all of our wood in. I'm going to get more, but we got it in. And, Crunchy's. Hello from Crunchy Mama Farms. Oh, wow. I forgot about that. You lucky duck. I wish I could have gone. There's just no way, though. There's no way. We balance out between, let's just do one more thing. But then you cut yourself short when you want to get out of here for a while. It just can't. There's no way it can happen. So I think we're down to 5 more chicken processing days. So we got this Friday. We got next week, 2 days. No, 4. 4 more days. So that'll be good. We're just cutting it off. We're just completely full. And anybody that needs their chicken processed, they're going to have to do it themselves. That's just the way it is. We were busy this summer. But when you build a business, you hope to be successful. And then when you get successful, come in the house at 7 o'clock and you sit in front of the fire. And the next thing you know, you're like, I want to go to bed. That's how I felt today. And Jill said, what are we talking about tonight? And I said, you know what? I hadn't even thought of it today. I had 3 phone calls come in from people that I knew that wanted to say Happy Veterans Day. And one of them was a guy that I was stationed with at my very first base. And we cruised Philippines, Thailand, Korea, and we were stationed in Japan. But we went TDY to all those places. And boy, did we have a long and colorful conversation. Very fun. I appreciate everybody that said Happy Veterans Day. That's really nice of you. All right, so we got Jay-Z with us, Belva's with us, and Mike Finn. I really don't have a topic tonight. Can you believe that? I was kind of racking my brain. Okay, what can we talk about? There's always something to talk about. And I probably could have just pulled something out, but I thought, maybe there's a reason for this. And maybe somebody wants me to talk about something that's happening locally or nationally or on their homestead, and I can expand on that. Excuse me. We have been looking at Anyone Can Farm now for about 6 months. And as you know, we did not do Homestead hog harvest this year. And you just know when you made the right decision. To do that class would have meant completely breaking down the shop in between processing days, and then deep cleaning, and then putting it back together again for a processing day. And to be perfectly honest, my crew is running a little on the ragged side. I know I am, and I don't mind admitting it. We've been working very hard lately. We're about ready to wind up on a couple projects. The apartment is very close. I finished up all the wiring over there yesterday, and everything is working. The water's working. Everything is working, and that's really good. And our hired man, Brian, is going to be staying over there throughout the winter. So it'll be kind of a trial run on the apartment to see how well it supports somebody, because it was just a all right, Keith's with us too. Great. It was just a pole barn, and we built it out into a 1-bedroom apartment. You know, it's got a full bath, or I don't know if it's a full bath. Yeah, it's toilet and shower and sink and all that stuff. There's a lot that goes into that. That's a lot of work. We had to put in a septic system. We had to hook it to the farm water system. So there was a lot of steps involved. All the wiring, put a wood stove in, and Brian's over there and he's doing quite well. The other night, I realized I was in bed. It was midnight, and I started thinking, ooh, I wonder if he knows it's going to be really cold tonight, because he's used to sleeping in his tent. And if he's sleeping over there on a mattress and he's got a sleeping bag, it could be cold as anything in there, and he's pleased as punch just not to be in his tent. So I went over to see if he had the wood stove going, and he did, but not very really good. And I helped him with that the next day, and we got some wood over there for him, and I showed him how to operate the stove and all that stuff. All those things that I kind of take for granted, but I realize, hey, if you grew up in town, you don't know a lot of these things. And so we, and he's perfectly happy to take instruction. So we're in good shape there. We did freeze up a little bit in the bathroom, because he felt like, well, I want to keep it warm in here where I'm sleeping. So he closed the door. Yeah. So we got him straightened out. We got all the lights are working now. Everything is working the way it's supposed to. And learned a few things along the way. Learned about the water heater from Jay-Z. Man, I got to tell you, you really saved my bacon on that. That was so good of you to do that. I will tell you guys what happened. On Tribe Day last year, Jay-Z showed up, I think a day early, and came over, and I was scrambling to get things moved around and cleaned up. And he says, "What can I help with?" And I said, "Well, you can help me tie down this hay." And so he helped me, and we had a nice conversation. And then I said, "Hey, could you take a look at that over there? Because I can't get the water heater to work. I got it all properly hooked up, but it just doesn't want to work." So he looked at it, and he said, "Oh, you used the wrong gauge wire." And so I said, "Okay, what do we got to do?" And he said, "You got to get a different gauge wire." And I said, "Okay, well, I guess that's not going to happen because I'm busy now." And he says, I'll do it. And so he looked it up. He found an electrical supply house in Cadillac, ran after the stuff, got it back, and got a couple volunteers to help him run the wire, and voila, got it fixed. So I am indebted to you for that, because I don't think I would have figured that out. And I'm really stubborn when it comes to calling in help. I'm really stubborn like that. But we're in good shape now, and that's going to be a real asset to this farm. And right now we're working with Brian. He's staying over there, and he's just trading us time. So he helps milk. He's got a job off farm too. And he's going to help us with butchering. He's helping with chickens now, and he's just tickled pink to do it, because it's a real job. He's a cook at a restaurant, and he doesn't like it as much as this. And it's hard to find a place to live, and those kind of wages and stuff. So we're helping each other out, and it's a good thing. I feel as though it's the right thing to do. For whatever you do for the least of my brethren, as you do unto me. The man from Nazareth said that. So that was kind of how our day went. We finished up, got up to the house at 7, got everything cleaned up, and my crew is just done. So they're in watching Sherlock Holmes now and eating. And I will keep this short tonight unless we have something that we want to talk about. Sometimes when I don't have anything to talk about, as soon as I get on here, it's like, oh, I know what we need to talk about. But that hasn't come over me yet. Maybe it will. Maybe somebody can spark my creative juices a little bit, but I'm feeling kind of congested and stuff. So it's not, maybe that's why it's not coming through. Didn't sleep good last night either. What a complainer. What a whiner. Well, it was a massive summer. We got a lot done. New projects, work to completion, some of them not quite. We kind of have one in front of us. However, we'll see what the weather does, because it's a fairly good sized construction project, and I have a finish up job that I have to be doing first. So I have looked at it and thought, okay, if I can't get it done, what will I do? And I've got plan B. It's not near as good as what I would like to do, but it will work. I've got 10 cows now, and so I need more housing for them. And they don't like to split up. They all like to be in one place when they do come in. And it was really tight last year with 7, and now with 10, it's going to be even tighter. So I have a plan for a lean-to off the front of the barn, and then just some drapes, but mostly just a place where we can keep the snow off so they can lay down. They don't have to be inside, but they do need a place they got to be out of the wind for sure. And here we are in November. November can be a very tame month. We've had a couple 3 days that have not been tame. We've had blowing, overcast, and extremely cold. The way they made it sound was it was a blizzard, and some places, I guess north of us, got as much as a foot of snow. And so there's a pretty good chance that they are under snow cover, and they will be for the duration of the winter. I always have a lot of respect for winter, because if you're not careful, things can go sideways really, really quick. And so I like to have thing that I can control in place and just batten down and weather the storm, because winter is like that. It's not like you stay out all day, you don't take a rest and swim in the pool, and it's not like that. And I always feel the stress of the animals as well, so I like to have them as comfortable as I can make them. The cattle mostly are the ones that can have a problem in extreme weather. So this is something that I don't think any of you guys have seen, but at the bottom of the hill where the pond is, we built a structure out of the old Clearspan building that blew away a couple, 3 years ago. We saved all the parts. And then I built a base and then put the hoops up over it. And we're going to be laying some steel up over it this week and get the end cap on. And it faces east. So we'll be able to bed it very nicely for them and stage a lot of bedding down there. So periodically in the winter, I can bedded for them, and it'll be open enough that I can get in with the tractor and I can scrape it out in the spring. So this is a good thing for us, and it's about time we did this. When I didn't have as many beef cows, or they weren't my own beef cows, they were steers that we bought from my brother-in-law when he used to have cows. He doesn't now. He just does feeders now. They were Angus, and they need very little in the wintertime. Usually what they do is they'll just turn their tail to the wind and just stand there and chew their cud. They don't look distressed at all. But our milk cow steers that we put down there, they can be pretty good size, but they're slighter. They don't have as heavy a hide, and they don't carry as much weight. And so they need a little bit of tender loving care. So I plan to get that completed this week. I'm going to hang some solar lights in there because usually I have a little bit of time after the sun goes down to go and check on them. And I'm quite sure that they will be inside and laying down. That's what they would like. I don't have that many of them. Right now I have 7, and then I have 4 calves, and then 10 milks. Come January, we're going to calf again. We're going to be getting 3 calves, and then we'll be in the milk. It's kind of an up what I'm doing here. The milking operation, I tell you what, if you're struggling to find something to do, it is not that hard to do, but it has to be broken. It has to be fragmented into pieces, and you just tackle one piece at a time. And I'm not even saying that you've got to get it completed, but you got to have a vision of what you're going to do and how it's going to work. And it's taken me quite a few years to get to the place where we are now. Like this morning, it's pretty cold. It's 23 or something. And you know you're not used to it yet. So 23 in January would be like, oh, it's not bad out, but it wasn't sunny and it was blowing, so it was a tough day. And we were able to process the milk inside. We do have a heater in there to keep all of our equipment at least 40 degrees, and then when we're working in there, I can crank it up a little bit if I want. I could crank it way up if I wanted to. And in the milk parlor, when all the cows are in, we have a door that we can shut so it's still. And it may be a little cool, but you've always got those nice cows there. You can put your hands on. You can even open your jacket and put it over them and really get warmed up. It's nice. And so we got her done this morning. And, you know, we've been getting her done every day for a long time. There's some real consistency, and I'm proud of that. We have yet to not be able to deliver to our customers. Jill has done an outstanding job of peddling it, you know, like, okay, you come this day, you come this day. Okay, sometimes she has to call people and say, can you come tomorrow? And she's done an excellent job. And we've been pretty consistent if you overall in the time that we've been doing it of moving. I would say the average right now is about 14 gallons per day. Now we've been much higher than that, and then we've been down as low as 7. And it just has to do with the cows and where they're at in their gestation and their lactation cycle and things like that. And then the weather changes, it gets cold, they need more energy. And so we were a little low, we were a little slow on that this year, but we did catch it up. I have a customer, a milk customer that was visiting here from Wisconsin, and her husband, who I met 3 times, real nice guy, knows the dairy industry really well. He milked 100 cows or 80 cows maybe for 20 years. So he knows the business quite well. Excuse me. And he had lots of helpful information for me about boosting their lactation in the cold weather. So I'm learning so much by doing this, and it's a good business for me because, for instance, today we were an hour and a half behind, and one of my customers showed up right on time. And she came into the milk house and she said, "Excuse me, my milk's not in the fridge. Is there a problem?" And I said, "Oh, it's right here. I just wrote your name on it. It's still warm." And I was able to hand it to her. And I talked with her for a moment, and she was able to tell me some of the things that they're overcoming in their household as far as health issues, and that milk has helped with those things. And when I got back to it, I thought, this is worth it. It's really worth it. You do things for money, but when people appreciate what you're doing, that makes it rounds it out. It really rounds it out. I also sold 2 pigs today, 2 350-pounders. And just a little update on that. This is outside the box thing that somebody else might be able to duplicate. But we've got a high percentage, not a high percentage, but we've got a lot of Romanians in Michigan. And then there's some that are in Chicago and some that are in Indiana. And we started probably 5 years ago with just a Romanian guy that was by here, and he says, "Oh, you've got these pigs. Oh, how can I get one?" And I said, "Just order one up. We'll kill it and pack it up for you." He says, "Well, could I maybe just have the pig whole, because we have a way that we like to do it?" And I said, "Sure." So we came up with a price for a pig on the hoof. And we went out to look at the pigs with the tractor and the 22. And he says, "How about that one?" And I shot it. And then we weighed it. We gave him a price on it. Our price on it right now is $2.80. And I know I could be higher than that. But you get to know these people after a while. And they come a long way to do this. And the way it works now is I go out with the tractor. They follow me out. They pick the one. I shoot it. I bleed it. We weigh it. And then I put it where they want it. Some of them like to cover it with straw and burn it. Some do. Some like to just have it hang, and then they go to it with a torch. And, we do it that way now too, instead of the scalding and scraping. So, we learn something, and then we'll generally just split it down the middle, and they take it from there. They load it in their vehicles, and away they go. So that was kind of nice. I got a phone call this morning, a guy, Pete. It's not really his name, but his name is, I forget what it is. Probably Vladimir or something. But real nice people, and they always clean up after themselves, and they're very friendly. Sometimes they bring me stuff. There's one guy that brings me this jungle juice that he makes. He brought me a bottle like this one time, and I smelled it and was like, "Whoa, you want me to drink that?" And he says, "Well, we just have to drink a toast before we start." I said, "Man, it's pretty early in the morning, and I'm not really drinking first thing in the morning or most of the year or ever these days." But I did take a little toast with him and coughed, and it was tough. They make it out of plums, and it's some sort of liquor. But then I said, "Thank you." I took it, put it in the cooler. There it sat for a long, long time, and finally went someplace else. I don't know where. It didn't get drank. I know that. But they're really nice people. But that's a good thing you can do. And the nice thing about them and any of the ethnic groups, like when they come to this country and they don't speak our language, they kind of clump up in communities. And when one of them brings a half mangalitsa home or a whole mangalitsa split in half, people in their community, well, where can I get one? So we've got a list of people, and I think that all but 3 will be going to our Romanian customers this year. That's our hope. That's what we're projecting. Yeah, so that's kind of a nice thing, and it's really nice when we have all the pigs off the field, the big ones, because then I don't have to feed that group. I still have to keep up with the sows, and that'll be 365 days a year. They need to be fed, or sometimes I feed them every other day if they have a lot of food still left out. And in the wintertime, you can really load them up, and they're fine. They're just happy people. They get their own pen, their own shelters, and they live together in their little group, and they do their thing. I have 4 of them now, and 2 of the sows farrowed about 2 weeks ago. So I got 16 out of that, and that group will replace the group that we're going to be slaughtering. And next year at this time, they will be up to 300 pounds. So we kind of have a plan here, and I know right where they're going to go. And yeah, it's going to be pretty slick. And then we have 2 other sows that are going to go, but they're going to be a little later. And so I think we'll just leave them in there and try and sell them in the spring for people that would like to experience the Mangalitsa. I also, little plug, I have 2 boars that are probably 50 pounds that are blondes, real nice. And then I have 3 sows that are reds, and they're from different groups. They're from groups. So they could be used as breeders. And I would like them to go before it gets cold to someone else's farm. And I'll make somebody a special deal on those. Normally I sell them for 500 a piece, so a pair is 1,000, and it's worked out pretty good. But because it's the holidays, I'm willing to make a special deal. That's another thing that's done really well is Mangalitsas have done well. We've done good with them. Been in them quite a long time now, and I don't see a time when we're not in them. They work really well, and we made pretty good money on them. I am hitting the money thing tonight because it's important to keep a scorecard of how, and dollars is a good indicator of how you're doing. It really is, because it is hard work. It's a great way of life. It's hard work, and if you are not making it, or if you can't see a time when you will make it, then you might be doing something wrong. Now, if it's just a hobby for you and you got a full-time gig and you don't really care if you make money or not, you're gaining experience the whole time. But in our case, this is our main thing that we do. And, I got to tell you, we're at the place right now where we didn't struggle real hard to financially. We didn't struggle to build out the apartment. We didn't. We had the money to do it. And the other structure that we built down there, same thing. To this point, it's been paid for. And that's a good feeling. It's not a good thing if you have to borrow money or credit card, building materials. Sometimes maybe you have to. We have not. We do without if we don't have the money to do it. And then you get to a certain point and, this is cranking, like pigs are cranking, beef sales. Oh my, if I had 10 beef to slaughter this year, I could sell them. Beef is a hot commodity in the United States right now, especially grass-fed beef. I wonder if anybody else like me has experienced grass-fed beef, and then maybe the freezer runs dry and there's no beef, and so you go out and you get a T-bone steak from the store or something. Jill did that for me. She was feeling like she liked me, so she went and got me a steak, and she got Joe a steak, and it was a nice looking steak. Nice looking. But when it was cooking, it just didn't have the same smell. It just didn't. It was sort of like any minute I'm going to get that first, the first smell that's going to make me feel like, oh, I'm so lucky to have this. And it just never came. And then when I sat down with it, even though it looked good, had good fat on it and everything, the flavor was just not there. I mean, I ate it, but I did share some of it, which usually I won't. So once you go grass-fed, it's really hard to do anything different. Like if for some reason we have to eat at a restaurant, steak off the menu, nope. I've long figured out that I'm going to put out a lot of money for a steak, and let's just have a sandwich here. I'll just have a small sandwich and call it good. And so that's how we've been doing. I wonder if anybody else has had that. Justin, so jealous. You went to their tribe weekend. Yep. That's Jill saying that. Jill's with us. Yeah. Jill's been working hard too. I really want to just tuck her in a bed. But, she still keeps going. She's got a lot of energy. So things are to the point now where we can really see that we're going to finish up on some of these projects that are going to pay really well. Did a lot of fencing this summer. So we had a lot more green grass to eat for the beef cows. Next year, beef cows, and we'll have plenty of replacements for them. So you can see how this thing is it's starting to click, it's click. And we're getting our breeding schedule down with the cows. So we hope to see, a more consistent daily amount of milk, and not have, a glut and then feast or famine type thing. We're hoping to, and we will too. I know I've gone back and forth on this bull thing, and at this point we're going back to a bull because the AI with 10 cows, it was too much money, really, and too much time and too much, organizing. You have to call the guy and he says, okay, I can come out at this time. And it may be in the afternoon and the cows are down in the corner. So they all have to come up. You can't just chase up the one that you want to. And then he's got to put a cedar in them. And then he's got to come and inseminate them. And then he's got to come back and check them. So there's three different things that have to happen. And if his schedule gets tripped up, it's pretty hard for me to expect him to come here for one cow, So we could see that wasn't going to work, and I cut him loose. We might use him again. He's a good guy. If you only have one cow, it's kind of hard to keep a bull around. But yeah, the bull that we're going to be using, he's from our herd. He is partly Guernsey and partly, let's see, who did he come from? Partly Guernsey and partly brown Swiss. So he'll be a big frame cow. And we've been working with him. He's very friendly. And we're hoping that we can keep him friendly for as long as we can. And, when the time comes where he gets cross, if he gets cross, sometimes they don't, then he's still in our asset column. He's beef. So, yeah, things are going good. Keith is saying, I'll see you on Thursday. I will have the fan for you. Awesome. I got that wiring all done, and I have the anchor in, so we can just bolt that right up, and away we go. Awesome. Keith's been a big help to me. He's the scrounger extraordinaire. I thought I was good at it, but nothing like him. He's got all kinds of connections for getting stuff, Let's see. So yeah, I have nothing to complain about. Nothing at all. Things are going really well. I'm I got a consulting coming up, I think tomorrow, which I always kind of like those. Sometimes we go there. Don't like them as much because they cut into my time here. I like it better when people come here and I set aside some time and show them how we did it, and then sit down and explain how it was done and stuff. I do see a time when the Milk House Suite, which is an apartment that we built above the Milk House, which is still got some open, it's got a long ways to go. We have to get all the drywall up on the inside, and still got to do the wiring, and got to get a bathroom in up there. I do see a time though when we may move into a more individualized consulting protocol, to where, let's say it's a family, a husband and wife, that want to get into the milk cow business, and they want to run a herd share. They want to have 10 cows and make, the money that you can make with that. I could see where they would stay there and then shadow us for a day, and with a notebook, writing down things, and then eat lunch with us, and then we could have a discussion after that, and then go out and do a pasture walk where we talk about management of the cows and feeding and getting familiar with the cows. And then the next day they milk and we shadow them, and then possibly have another sit down at the next day's lunch and finish up like that. So it would be sort of an immersion process, and you're right here with us. So there's no travel. You're staying right here. I think that would be far more productive than having a 2-day class and people are in hotels all over the place, and then those were good. We did good with those, with hog harvest and chicken processing days. We really did. We did good with it, but I think we could do better than that. And one of the things that it seems that we're up against is when you go to the internet and you say how to butcher a cow, you will have do. And some of the content creators are really good. They're really good. But their income stream is number of views. And that's not what I feel that I'm supposed to do. I don't think that's what I want to do. Because if you do that, then, well, you hire a guy to do the filming because it has to be edited, and you want music in there and all that stuff. And then it becomes like a production. And no, I don't think I want to do that. I know I don't want to do that. I want to do the real thing. So I think that would work for me. And I don't see that being offered any place in the United States. Now I can think of 5 different entities that have come online with Homestead Hog Harvest and are knocking it out. Sean Kelly's doing it. There's a few people that I don't know that are doing it, and they seem to be able to put their media together better than we were willing to do. So good. That's great. Maybe they watched what we were doing and said, hey, we can do that. Maybe, I don't know. If they did, that's fine. I'm not holding on to anything very tightly. Just not, because there are so many things that you can do. And, if something's not working out, like hog harvest was not working out, I was more than happy to say, we did it for 14 years. That's cool. That's cool. We can let that one go. We'll tie a bow on that and call it good. Put it on the shelf. We had a lot of good times. Met a lot of nice people. Matter of fact, on here, let's see. We never got Belva up here. That was a shame. Belva and Gary, I think that they would have liked a class like that, and they would have liked to be able to sit with them and talk face to face and not on Zoom calls. Keith has been. David Duncan has been. Justin's been. Is Dion Stumpo on here? the Stumpmeister. He's been. So and the Declare Clark crowd, now they do it too. I don't know if they did it this year, though, to be honest. Yeah, we had good times. But it kind of ran its course, and now we're on to the next thing. And what's neat about a journey like this is I'm not really sure what the next thing is. I'll wait till it presents itself, and then there we go. I did have kind of a thought the other day when I was down working on the steer shelter. There's a pond down there, and it's really nice. It's really pretty area. And I was thinking about developing that pond area. I've talked about that before. And loading it with species, like make a food forest type thing, but not just a food forest, a food, develop the aquatic nature of it. And we have kind of worked at that a little. We've caught fish and then brought them home, and then we keep them in a live well. And then now we didn't feel like cleaning them at 10 o'clock at night, so we put them in the pond. And then we caught them again, and they were a lot bigger, and then we cleaned them. So I could see going to a hatchery and really getting serious about putting in fish, and then put feeder fish in, which we can catch in the creeks. We put minnow traps out, and goldfish and stuff like that. We could do this. So there's a lot of things. Plant nice trees down there, some weeping willows, and a lady gave me 13 of these monster geese. These things are like 3 feet tall, and I didn't have time to take care of them, so I put them down there on the pond, and they're just happy down there. They're just happy people. They got their little place. They eat grass too, so they're not stressing us. We don't have to feed them, and maybe they'll keep the water open. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. That would be a pretty good thing if they could do that, but I don't think they could. I think you need way more of them. So there's lots of things to do. Composting went well this year. Biochar went well this year. The store, I couldn't ask for a better result on that. When you've got people just constantly going in and taking stuff out and leaving money, something's right. And food security is a big deal to people these days, and I think it should be. Yeah, so I'm real happy where I'm at. Has anybody got anything that they'd like to talk about? I will have. Okay, anything that we need to talk about here, because I could wind this up. We're coming up on an hour, and I could do that. But I am thinking about, like anyone can farm, what direction do we want to go with it? If we're not going to be doing the regular classes that we were, what would we do? I don't think that I'm ready to say, well, we're done with anyone can farm, because I just don't think it's time. Every time we make a discovery, half the is sharing it with other people. Tribe Day is not going anywhere for the foreseeable future, and we've had very good luck with that. I wouldn't say it's a moneymaker, but it's a life enhancer. I like to see these people that have become my friends and spend a few days with them, just yucking it up around the campfire and just doing stuff, Jeep riding and swimming in the pool and all that stuff. It's just fun. So I don't see that going away. There was an incident that happened last. I got a picture of it, but Jordan Buck's kids were here, and they were playing on the rope swing. So they're standing up on the picnic table, and then they're swinging. And I watched them for a minute just to make sure, are they old enough to be doing that? I'm watching them. Something tickled their fancy, and there was some other kids there too. I don't remember exactly how many kids there were, but they just started cracking up. And you could see, I could see, and I could feel the joy of those human beings. And I thought, that right there is the reason that we do this. And that was when I said to myself, yeah, we're going to do this one more year. And every year it's like, yeah, we're going to do it another year. And so I don't see that going anyplace. We're gaining new people all the time in the tribe. So that's good. Yeah, all is well. So maybe I'll wind it up right there if nobody's got it. David Duncan, you want me to talk about anything? You got to have something I could talk about because I'm out. All right, I've been looking. Just for fun, I went and looked at the numbers on, anyone can farm videos and stuff, and I put everything under the same column, I guess, in my mind. Like when I'm showing something, and I just take my phone out and I make a quick video, and then I post it. It goes. And these videos, they just sit on that website or YouTube. And I was looking at the numbers, and we're pretty steady between 150 and 200 right there. And then there was when I accessed it, there was some other people that had videos that they'd made. And one guy had like 875,000 views. And I thought, how do they do it? How do they do it? But they do. And for a second, I thought, this is just not working. But I stepped back from it and I reframed. And the video that I did last week, I believe, it had 92 views. And see, it doesn't happen live. Like right now, there's 10 people on. Ooh, 5 thumbs up. Right on. Thanks for the thumbs up. And so you might think, well, if only 10 people are listening to the show, that's not worth it. Wait a minute. What if I had 10 people sitting at the kitchen table? Would I just say, oh, there's only 10 of you. Out. Get out. Well, what if you had 92 people sitting at the table? 92. That's a lot of people. Some of those videos are up 200 and something in a week or two. That's a lot of people. I mean, if you're in it for the views, then it's not, but I'm really not in it for the views. This makes, well, not primarily. I mean, this makes that many views with all the other stuff. It might make $50 a week. I'm not really sure. But to sit down here for an hour and talk to you all and make an hourly wage of $50 for an hour's worth of work or hour or two, yeah, why not? I mean, you're not losing anything. And I enjoy it. All right, there's a question from Dave Duncan. When do you breed back your cows? Well, I have 10 and I need them in a rotating schedule. So you make a pie graph and you fill it in 12s, right? It needs to be 12 sections starting January, February, March, right around. And you break it up into quarters. And so you'll get 3 quarters or 4. You'll get 4 groups of 3 months. And you aim for that 3 months. You want them to calf in there. So you back up 9 months. And let's say the cow drops a calf and then you start milking her. You need to know when to put the bull in with her or when to put her in with the bull. So that's how you do that. And you should have 3. If you have a better way would be if you've had 12 cows. It really would. And you could have 1 calf every month. Now that would be good. But if you could have 3 calf each quarter, that would be fine. And so your target is just a 3-month, 90 days. And when you're using a bull, it's it happens without too much effort. So that's how we plan to do that. It's been a little rocky when we were using the AI guy, and he would breed 3 cows, and then only one of them would take, and then I'd have to have him back and write him another check and another, all that time that we'd have to take away from our daily to bring the cows in and get them locked in. So if I was at your table now, I'd be begging for more kimchi. Well, yeah, kimchi's good stuff. How long after the calf? We have only 2 calved early in October. Oh, I see what you're saying. What's the earliest time? Well, I would look at when do you want them to calve? When you're doing it that way, at first I was wanting my cows to calf in the spring, and that falls in with the natural cycle. You notice the deer always calf, they always kid, or what do you call it? Whatever you call it. A deer, a baby deer, fawn. Do they fawn? I don't know. But they'll do that in the spring, and then mom gets into the lush grass and she makes lush milk, and baby gets good milk. So I would, if I was you, that's what I'd be looking at. Try to calf. Well, let's see, you calved in October. So let's say you got them pregnant right now. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. You're looking at July if you get them knocked up right now. That would be good. I mean, because they're going to be on grass all summer, so they'll have a lot of fat, and they'll be able to pass that on to their calf. So that would be good. I guess I would do that if I was you, because you really don't want to tear down the cow so much by having her to produce a lot of milk in the wintertime. But see, we do that when we're milking. So I think that's one of the places where it's not exactly settled how we're going to do it. I know people who expose all their cows so that they calf in the spring. And so they have a big glut of milk, but then your customer base might leave you and go to someone else, and you might not get them back because they might not want to go through that again the next year. So yeah, that's definitely deviating from nature the way we do it. But that's it. That's the way we're doing it. Chickens, we finished all of our chickens today, so we have no chickens out on the field, and people here are very happy about that. So a boy who yesterday had a lot of chores to move chicken tractors and feed, make sure the water is working. Tomorrow he has none of that, so I can load him up with other things. I'll give him an afternoon off maybe, or a morning off. Excuse me. But that's good to have that behind us. Chickens hasn't been all it's cracked up to, with the other processes that we have. And I think that's because people who get into homesteading, that's their go-to. But chicken processing, on the other hand, we have killed it on chicken processing. We have killed it. David says, you are right on about the milk business. More people want it than I realized. Oh, for sure. Raw milk is going to be the future. It's going to be the future. And there's no way that they can they can shut it down. They can't, unless they pass some laws in the legislature, and they'd be hard pressed to get that done. Nobody likes the government now anyway. And if they come up with some oppressive things, they're going to get hammered. You notice that now? People are just kind of like, ugh. They're screwing the pooch so bad. It seems like the Trump administration is doing pretty good. I see a lot of good things. And I also realize that we don't know everything that's going on. We just see what we see. And a lot of times the left-wing press likes to present stuff to us, so we'll be hating on Trump. And I don't think I'm going to do that. I really have to look at the guy's character. And I think he is a good businessman because he hides his character. But when I can look in between the lines, I think he's got a good character. I think he does. I could be wrong, but there's certain indicators that makes it seem like he's got a good character. And there are a lot of powerful people in this country that know that if this country goes down the tubes, there's no place to go. There's really no place to go. So they're working hard to turn us in a different direction where we can get the system going to where people are motivated to work and progress. That's what people want to do. But the last 20 years have been hard, I think, for people because the government has become dictatorial in a lot of ways, and they deceive the people, and it almost seems like they're in governing for themselves. They're not in it for service. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I still feel the same way that we create our own little world to live in, kind of a sanctuary. Not saying it's impermeable by bad guys, because it isn't. But I'm not scrambling for food stamps or anything like that. I'm not depending on anybody else to make a living. And we have that right under our Constitution. And we're very fortunate that we do. Very fortunate. And we were just born into it. Some of us took an oath to protect and defend it. And some people do. And some people don't, protect and defend it. Some people just don't. They don't have the will to do it when the going gets tough. That's the way it is in the war business. It's not for everybody. But if we don't put our foot down with a lot of these parasite types, you will get overrun for sure. We're seeing some of that happen now. People are being overrun. So anyway, we're coming up on an hour. And I have yacked more than I thought. This is worth probably $25. I'll probably get paid to do this. I don't see any super chats in there. You know what I could do sometime? I could just come on here and sit and say, welcome. I am not going to say a word until 5 people super chat me. $10. I want $50 if I'm going to share my wisdom with you all. I could do that. Probably won't. It's crossed my mind. It's only money. All right, I'm going to get going. I want to leave you with one statement. Anyone can farm. Good night, y'all.